Welcome to Happy Trails Hiking. On this station, you will find content about park travel, as well as living a healthy lifestyle. If you're interested in either one of those sorts of things, I would invite you to subscribe. My name is Kay, and this is the Healthy Lifestyle Show. On this show, I want to offer you encouragement to live the life you love. This is Travel Tuesday, and we have a very special guest for you today. Our show is brought to you by our photography store, and you can find all of those fantastic photos on happytrailshiking.com/store. It's great to see everybody today. Hello to everyone in the chat. We've got Creator Spotlight Show, as well as Tanya Lambert and Desmond Donders. Thanks for being here today. I have a very exciting show for you today. I met Bill Clevlen at the Midwest Travel Network Conference in June. As I looked at the conference schedule, I was happy to see someone else who was from St. Louis. I got all my Cardinals gear on today. Bill Clevlen started in broadcasting at the age of 20, hosting a daily comedy show segment on the most listened to radio show in St. Louis, Frank Pinion, and the large morning show in the afternoon. He worked for KMOV-TV, or he has worked for KMOV-TV and has been a soft rock radio announcer and co-host and announcer of the Mid-America Emmy Awards. Currently, Bill shares road trip stories nationally on SiriusXM satellite radio, several syndicated travel programs, television newscasts, as well as major media outlets like the Los Angeles Times. He's the author of the popular travel guide, 100 Things to Do in America Before You Die, as well as his latest book, Driving Across America. Bill is currently an active director serving on the board of Midwest Travel Journalists Association, MTJA, the oldest travel writing organization in the U.S. In his spare time, he enjoys playing pickleball and watching comedy shows like The Office and Family Guy. Please welcome Bill Clevlen. Welcome, Bill. Thank you for being here.
That was quite an introduction. It's almost like I wrote it myself.
I know, right?
It's always, those things are embarrassing to write and a little lengthy, but thank you. Good to be with you.
That's all right. Well, thanks for being here. Yeah,
nice Cardinals outfit too. That's nice.
Thank you. Yes, it's
we're in first place, in case anybody is paying attention.
Yeah, the huge shirts. Okay, so if you ever go to a promo day, they give you huge shirts. We've got a bigger room. Few more people have come in. Demented Maniac is here. Outdoor Nomad. Gary with Life on the Trails. Panic D Paranormal History is here. And do you know any paranormal stories, by the way, Bill?
No, that's not really my thing. People always ask me to stay in places that are haunted or places that have some sort of, that sort of history. And I've never seen anything myself, and I'm one of those, like, I have to see it to believe it. So I'm which is horrible. I should be more open-minded, but nothing paranormal has ever happened to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, me neither.
I'd be very excited if the lights would start going on and off right now, but nothing ever happened.
Nothing. Okay. Well, I got some friends. Panic D Paranormal History. They're pretty awesome, and they do lots of investigations and things around places that you have been. So I was just wondering. Timey and Lives is here with a splash raid along with the Power Chord channel. Thank you all for being here. Oh man. Okay. So for those of you who are just now coming in, this is Bill Clevlen, and he is from BillOnTheRoad.com. And I guess I'll just get started with my questions. If you all have any questions in the chat, please make sure you put at Happy Trails Hiking so I can see them in the chat, and maybe moderators, you can help me out with that. So it says on your website, Bill on the Road, that it was born from being fed up with so much negative stories. And you wanted to highlight the positives instead. I love that. Did this project change the way that you look at America?
Well, the reason that I started by the way, how about the decor I have for you today? Isn't this nice? This is
fantastic.
So I started because, and I remember exactly when it happened. I was scrolling through Facebook, and there was a story about the 10 worst states to live in.
Oh.
And so I clicked on the story, of course, like an idiot, and my state was on there, Missouri. I'm from Missouri. You're also from Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
And so I scrolled down, and sure enough, Missouri had made the list of 10 worst states to live in, which is fine that we're on these lists periodically. And so, but what bothered me was the photograph that they showed on the story. And so, for anyone who's never been to Missouri, those of us that live here, if we were trying to describe the entire state to someone through one photograph, you might pick, maybe if you're from St. Louis, you pick the Arch. If you're from Kansas City, you might pick the fountains, or the Ozarks. Beautiful scenery, whatever. But the people that wrote this article to describe the entire state of Missouri put up a photo of a rundown looking trailer park and a guy walking a couple of mangy looking dogs through the trailer park. And that, to anybody who had never been to Missouri, you're reading this article and you think, well, holy crap, of course I don't want to go to Missouri. Why would I want to go to Missouri? And so that really bothered me. And I decided that's when I would kind of do this full time, and trying to sort of break down stereotypes and tell more, as you said, positive stories about the country. So yes, as I've done this now, I've been in broadcasting for it'll be 20 years, or I'll start my 20th year in October.
Wow.
And so I've done this for 6 of those. And yeah, it's absolutely changed the way that I see the country, because unlike what I see on the evening news or, reading online or whatever, 99% of the people in the country are, good, decent folks, who are just out there living life. And there's this notion that everybody in the entire country is fighting with each other and everyone's mad and everybody's angry, and it's really just not the case. And like I said, I see that from people from all walks of life, every race and political background and whatever. I mean, you meet all these people as they drive all over the United States, and so yeah, so it was refreshing to get out there and get to see the real America, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. So, you find lots of things with the real America. You find some interesting museums. So, the Action Figure Museum, for instance, or the
yeah, that one's in. I found that by So there's about 40,000 museums in the United States. That's a number that most people are kind of stunned by. When I ask that question as sort of a trivia question at events, people, I'll say, how many museums do you think there are in America? And people will say, 5,000 or 3,000. And you're like, yeah, not even close. So, so it's about 40,000 museums in the United States. And which is nuts. And that includes, your very top tier, high quality, museums, like the National World War II Museum or whatever. But then you also have these quirky museums, which are almost always consist of somebody's personal collection. So the Action Figure Museum that you mentioned, which I haven't thought about that in a while, that was in Oklahoma. I want to say it's Norman, Oklahoma. I could be wrong about that.
Okay.
And I saw it on the road. Or a sign on the road driving between St. Louis and I think it was Oklahoma City.
Okay.
Maybe it was Tulsa. I can't remember. But I just thought, well, that sounds pretty interesting. And so I just drove off it was, a couple miles off the highway, met the guy. And essentially he had just collected thousands and thousands and thousands of action figures and made his own museum. And he was a really interesting guy. And it was cool to see all this stuff. A lot of, if you grew up in the action figure era, you would see stuff that, people you would have maybe wanted to have in your own collection or wanted to play with, or maybe things you played with as a kid and then, got thrown in the trash or taken to Goodwill at some point. But so that was a cool one.
Sure. Awesome. So when I met you, back in June at the conference, at the Midwest Travel Conference, you mentioned the Mustard Museum and the interesting fellow that you met there. For those of you who don't know, I'm talking to Bill on the road, and Bill is been nice enough to come and see us today, and he has a couple of books that he Well, they're awesome. Matt and I read them on our trip this summer. So make sure you check out those links below. Welcome to all the new folks that are in the room, and thank you for being here. Bill, do you want to expound upon your mustard museum experience?
Okay, yeah. So that's one I actually enjoy talking about when I do live events, because people are just kind of fascinated that somebody has started a collection of mustard. But the guy is really nice. It's in Middleton, Wisconsin. And so, yeah, it's just one of the more quirky museums that I've stumbled on. And yeah, he has, I'm going to take these off. I don't need
Okay.
By the way, these came from the dollar store. $1 for these things, which means probably nothing to anybody else, but you know how expensive glasses are, and these work just fine. Anyway, yeah, so Mustard Museum. So Middleton, Wisconsin, and the guy has collected, I want to say the number is 6,000 different types of mustard, and from all over the world, and yeah, every state is represented or whatever. And so, yeah, you walk in, and I truly wanted to hate the place when I heard about it. I was like, this is going to be stupid. It's going to be horrible. And it was wonderful. It was a lot of fun. It was bright. Everything was painted yellow. The guy was very interesting, as you would probably have to be if you're collecting mustard.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one's in Middleton, Wisconsin. And but yeah, the quirkier the better. Although there are some that are almost too quirky to enjoy or appreciate. But generally speaking, if it's kind of odd, or certainly somebody's personal collection, those I kind of like, because there's always a story or two behind why they started.
That's cool. Do want to let you know that a few people, Inspired John is here, and he's from Pennsylvania, and he says he's read one of your books, so that's cool.
Nice.
And Timey Lives has a question that says, do you stick to the Midwest or all of America? And his books will let you know that, but maybe so have you been all 50?
Well, so the question about the Midwest. So obviously I'm in the Midwest, so it makes it easier to, visit the states that represent the Midwest. But no, I travel all over the United States. I do everything by vehicle. So, I just sort of feel, I don't know, disingenuous if I hop on an airplane, as opposed to driving somewhere when I'm telling everybody else to go take road trips. So, so sometimes some of the far west or far east states, if you're driving there, as everybody knows, it's going to take a little time. So, sometimes those are hard to cover as much as the ones that are closer to home. But yeah, no, I cover the entire United States, and but yeah, obviously being close to the Midwest, I get to give them, a little more love than the others.
Sure, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
The Outdoor Nomad is from Oklahoma and says the Toy and Action Figure Museum is in Pauls Valley, Oklahoma.
Valley.
There we go. When you visit so many places, it's just hard to remember. It's hard to remember.
Norman, Oklahoma was where, oh my gosh, who's the famous actor? I can picture his face. Oh crap. Anyway, I've been to both.
Awesome. My next question, and somebody, Timey Liz asked, were you a chef? Have you ever been a chef? Are you a good cook?
Good grief. Oh, I can cook, but I'm not a chef. Well, that's a very, nobody's ever asked me that in all the time I've been doing this.
Okay. And then lots of just questions of, have you been here? Have you been there? So have you seen the Big Duck and or Lucy the Elephant?
There's a lot of elephants and a lot of ducks. You have to be more specific.
That's what I was going to say. Timey's from Florida, so I'm wondering if that's. And then Budget Bushcraft says, have you been to the Covered Bridge Festival in Indiana?
I have not been to the Covered Bridge Festival. There are also a lot of covered bridges in the United States. I spent a fair amount of time in Madison County, Iowa, which is most famous for their covered bridges. The horrible Clint Eastwood movie, Bridges of Madison County. But the bridges are cool, and the town is very cool, and the community is neat. They have all their bridges up there. I know they do a festival every year, but no, I've not been to the one in Indiana.
Gotcha. That's cool. All right. So my next question, was you must have met some interesting people along the way. Which meeting will you always remember forever and ever and ever, and why?
Wow, that is a great question. An interesting person that I have met and that I'll always remember. So you're good, bad, or ugly? Like it doesn't matter?
Sure, good, bad, or ugly.
There was one guy that I remember. I hope I get this story right. I was driving through, I want to say I was crossing into West Virginia, and there was a guy who was on his, I don't know what his name, I don't remember his name. He was on a motorcycle. Apparently, he was in front of me at some point on the highway, and we both had pulled into the welcome stop in West Virginia. Okay. And what people should probably know about me is I'm very approachable. People come up to me all the time. Like, you'd be walking through Target or something, and people will come up, hey, where's this or where's that? And I go, well, first of all, do I have a red shirt on? And no, I don't even work here. I'm not like people come. So it's not unusual for random strangers just to walk up and start talking to me. And so, but this guy comes up to me, and we're walking into the rest area, into the welcome center there. And this guy, he is just perplexed. He is just, you can tell he's something's bothering him. And he goes, I was driving this car that was in front of me. It was a pickup truck or whatever, and they just started throwing things out of their car, and they started hitting my motorcycle, and I shouldn't, and I didn't laugh at the time, but all I wanted to do was crack up laughing because he was so serious, and he was talking about and just so dramatic about the way that the guy in front of him had been throwing stuff out of the car, and just first, I think it was paper and different things like that, and they were hitting him as he was on the motorcycle. And then he continues on, and he said that he like flipped them off, or he did whatever, and then they emptied a can of something or other, and that ended up hitting the guy. And all I can do is I'm standing there in the welcome. All I want to do is go in and use the restroom and be back on the road, and I have this guy in his motorcycle outfit who, now that I think about it, wasn't even from the United States. He had some crazy accent, and is just telling me about things that had been randomly hitting him in the head on the highway. So people just, no matter where I go, people will approach me and just tell me their life story and things that have happened. And I don't know. That'll be my next book, I guess. Random people I've met on the road.
Okay, so yeah, are those the is that one of your favorite things, is to just meet random people and go, you are a story, and I that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, why not? It's interesting. People sometimes will say to me, aren't you lonely on the road? Because I travel by myself. I'm typically by myself when I travel. And so I will always say, no, I'm usually more lonely at home. When I'm out on the road, I'm meeting new people. I'm, obviously meeting people in different cities that I cover, people who work in the city, people who are, running attractions or whatever. And so you get to meet a lot of people when you travel. So to me, it's more lonely at home when you're, planning trips or you're working on other projects, as opposed to being on the road. Yeah.
Right. So for those of you who are new to our show today, this is Bill from BillOnTheRoad.com, and I am thrilled to be getting to talk to Bill today. And it's nice that he took some time out of his busy schedule to talk with us. Question from Justin and Christina RV Van Life was, do you have a home base? And we covered that at the beginning, but Bill and I are both from St. Louis. So, and then have you had one experience, they ask, that has truly stood out? Is there one from all of your years of doing this that has just been like a highlight, and you're like, okay, I can now die because I've done this?
I met Dolly Parton a few months ago. That was kind of a life-changing experience.
Bow down to you.
There's not one in particular. I mean, there's not a trip that goes by where I don't, kind of pinch myself and say, how fortunate I am that I get to do this. I mean, before 6 years ago, a little more than 6 years ago, I didn't even realize that this was a thing. Like, people get paid to travel. Like, you make money. Like, how does that even work?
I know, right?
And so, so when I discovered that this was a viable, and that doesn't mean that it's easy. Anybody that knows me knows that I balance a lot of different projects and a lot of, whether it's radio or video productions or writing or whatever. You do a lot of books, and you do a lot of things to stay afloat. But you can make a living doing it if you're, working hard and you have a lot of, different avenues to pursue. But yeah, I had no idea that it was even a thing. I mean, I was blown away when I found out that there were people that did this for a living. I don't even remember what your question was. There was no. I wouldn't say there's one particular moment. I mean, they're all great. I mean, even the bad ones, you still go, well, I'm not digging ditches somewhere. Like I'm not, up on a roof, in 120-degree weather, working like I'm doing. I can't complain about any of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's how I kind of feel about my job at this point. Do you mind if I share your website on the screen? Is that all right with you?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So for those of you who might not know and didn't go out and check Bill's website beforehand, Bill does interesting things, and he has this is a new website. I understand that you have put together a just updated website, but he has road trip ideas, and he has quirky road trip things. And so Bill is all about finding, a beer can house, for instance, and Colonel Sanders' resting place. See, there's something that Panic D can go and find and go investigate to see if Colonel Sanders is still there, so on and so forth. Genealogy Center. Now, see, there's an Indiana place, and that would be a place that my father would love. But he has lots of quirky ideas, and of course, he has his store, which I have the link to below, guys. So make sure that you check out his books, and I bought the combo pack, so we're good to go. And mine are signed, and no, you can't have them. So there you go. But yes, he does lots of things, and so all of America. You've seen all 50 states? Yes.
I actually have not been to all 50 states. I have been to. I just did this number the other day. I think there's about 7 more that I have to see.
7. Wow.
Yeah, but don't ask me what they are because I can't remember them all.
That's fine. I've got, well, other than Alaska and Hawaii, I need to go to the Northeast mostly. So that's where I'm at. But you can see on the screen here, Medora. That's where Bill and I met at the Pitchfork Fondue. Got to sit and talk to Bill for just a few seconds in a group of people. So that was fun. And yeah, there's just a lot of things on here. And guys, you will love Bill's writing. It's fun and just enjoyable, just easy reading. And it'll put a smile on your face every single day. So make sure that you check out his blog and things instead of, he's got a great YouTube channel too. I watched, Play All, and he just has some of the most, it's just short videos that you can really enjoy. So let's see.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. Marty's Crew says, have you ever been to Lucas, Kansas, the Garden of Eden?
No.
It's another one to add to your list.
I know. I just had an article published yesterday. Well, I just got a copy of it yesterday. I don't know where it went. It's around here somewhere. For a Kansas magazine.
Yes, I saw that on Instagram. Actually, I think.
Yeah, and so I did. They asked if I would do a story, so I just did. Here 8. I don't know why I picked 8 things to do in Kansas, things that I had actually done, but no, I've not been there.
Okay, well, Marty's Crew Family Adventures is from Kansas, and I actually went out and visited them on our road trip this summer, and they took us to some really fun spots. We got to see couple of state parks because Matt and I cover park travel. So
Okay, yeah.
that's kind of what we're doing. Food Forest Permaculture is here. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming. And Inspired John has come in. So are there any other questions from the chat? Because we're running out of time, and I just want to make sure that I don't ask, I don't run over somebody else's question here. So my next question is there one place you will always go if you're going to be close by? Like if I'm going to blah state, I have to go here.
Wow. There are, it's funny. There are a lot of those actually now that I've been doing this, and I've been very fortunate to make a lot of great friends as I've traveled. And so but it becomes problematic after a while. That's a good problem, but so like you said, if you're going from, let's say St. Louis to, I don't know, Cleveland or whatever. So, I'm passing a bunch of towns and cities that I know people in, and I'm like, well, it'd be nice to grab lunch with this person, or maybe I can grab a quick coffee with this person, or whatever. It should be a short road trip ends up being, a big event because I have to stop along the way and connect with all these great folks that I have met. So, is there one in particular? No, not really. I mean, like I said, I've done this now long enough where, all these places I find interesting things to do. And things that I like, or maybe a great restaurant here or there or whatever. I know that's not a great answer for your good.
No,
question.
that's fine.
But yeah, I mean, like, Indianapolis, I was just talking about them yesterday, the day before on the radio. I've met a lot of nice people there. There's a lot of cool things to do that I think sometimes surprises people that Indianapolis has so much stuff. I'll stop there. I always stop at, and this was in my book, the 100 Things book. For whatever reason, I have to stop in Casey, Illinois when I'm going to Indianapolis, which is where all the gigantic things are.
Yes.
And they're constantly adding things to their town. So even though I've already seen the world's tallest rocking chair and world's tallest mailbox and the other 15 things, whatever they got there, I still stop because it's a mile off the highway. Why not? Quick place to stop. So anyway, yeah, no, I stop a lot.
Oh, well, that's good. And I love that your answer is I have to stop and see people and not just places. That's awesome. And that's why I've loved all of the people that I've met through the Midwest Travel Network is that they're all interested in people and not just the travel destinations.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So my last question for you today is, what location or museum have you found yourself being the most fanboy at? You just were like, oh my God, I got to see this. And this is great and wonderful. So do you have a location like that you've been like, oh my God, this is the best?
I actually know the answer to that. So there's a museum in Atlanta called the, the Puppetry Arts. What is it called? Center for Puppetry Arts. And it's in Atlanta, Georgia. And a lot of people don't know that it exists. I mean, it's because World of Coca-Cola and the Georgia the Aquarium, a lot of these other things get play, and people sometimes forget about this. So the Center for Puppetry Arts has basically all of Jim Henson's Muppet collection.
Oh my gosh!
Their family gifted, I want to say it's about 500 artifacts to this museum, and when I was a kid, I grew up watching the Muppets and, Kermit the Frog and all this stuff. And that's one of the reasons that I went into the entertainment world or broadcast world or whatever, because I watched that stuff. I watched them putting on a show each week on the Muppets or whatever. And of course, I was young, like 26. No, I'm kidding. And so anyway, I loved the Muppets. So when I went to the museum and they have the Jim Henson, room or exhibit, they have it. It's its own space. I mean, so they have it all set up, and walking in and seeing some of these characters, even though they were not obviously real or moving or whatever, was incredible. And so, to stand next to the actual Big Bird, right? And you're like, holy cow. And or Bert and Ernie or Kermit the Frog or all these things. And just because they meant something to me as in my childhood, to see these things in person was absolutely incredible. And I remember I did an interview with the curator after my visit, and I told her this. I said, sometimes people think I'm nuts, grown man, looking at Muppets and, being, emotional. And the lady said, she goes, you're far from alone. She goes, in fact, a lot of people will come in and they will actually start crying because they're so overwhelmed with emotion when they see these things in person after having grown up with them, all, through their childhood or whatever. I did not cry. But apparently a lot of grown adults do when they see them. So yeah, so that would have been my sort of, I don't know the term you used, fanboy.
Fanboy, yeah, no.
But yeah, so that way, and there's a story on my website, at Bill on the Road, about that experience and seeing those things. And yeah, that was pretty awesome.
Yes, and once again, this has been Bill on the Road and Bill Clevlen from BillOnTheRoad.com. And I would be totally emotional getting to see Big Bird. He was my favorite. Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch, because they were just opposites. And
they had Oscar too. Oscar was there. And it's funny, the lady said, she goes, one of the things she'll hear, because I said, what do you hear when you're meandering around the museum just from, tourists or whatever? And she said, it never fails. People will stand next to Big Bird and will say the following phrase, wow, that's a big bird. Like, yeah, of course it's a big bird. Like, that's the whole point. But yeah, no, it's pretty awesome to see that stuff in person.
Oh, wow. Yes. Well, thank you for being here with me today,
Sure.
Bill. And I appreciate that so much. If you'll hang out for just a second, I'll close out the show.
Okay.
All right. Tomorrow on the Healthy Lifestyle Show, you will get to see Christina from, wrong thing. Dang it. Christina from Justin and Christina. I'm being a dork. There we go. Ha. Not Bill on the Road. There we go. Christina from Justin and Christina, RV Van Life, will be doing yoga with me for Workout Wednesday. Thank you all for being here today. Until next time, remember, you are not replaceable. Go out and live the life you love, guys. Thanks so much.